Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show.
Good morning. Merry Christmas. We are here. It is Monday, December 23rd, and we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas from here at PHLY. Hope everybody's having a great holiday season. There's nothing like it. It is the best Christmas in Philadelphia. This is the Anthony Gargano Show. We're presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY for the credit union difference. I was around this morning because I do my Fox 29. Jen, Fred, and I go around the city. And I was over at Samuels & Sons. Saw all that's going on over at Samuels & Sons. All the fish, people lined up, get ready for the 7 fishes. It was great. Pastificio and the whole thing. It was, it's a great morning, right? Like, just love it. You feel the holiday vibes. It's freaking cold as all get out. And here's the deal. Don't worry. Don't worry. Yesterday it took an act of God for the Eagles to lose that game. I mean, if you think about it, it took Jalen going out with a concussion early in the game, in the first quarter. It took all kinds of things. Devontae, who never drops anything, has a drop that probably ends the game, right? Like, there was a million different things that went wrong that conspired for the Eagles to lose that game. It's not a worry. The only bummer for the whole thing is they're now out for the 1 seed, right? Like, that would have been nice to get the overall seed. Now, the Lions win yesterday, despite all the injuries that have piled up on Detroit. The Lions go into Chicago, and they basically rout the Bears, who stink. And so it looks like it's either them or Minnesota will get the 1 seed. And, the Eagles won't get that. But other than that, I don't feel down. I don't feel bad. It had to happen at some point. You're going to lose a game. And the manner in which they lost, right? Like, I mean, it's crazy to think. Kenny Pickett comes in. All right, we all saw with Pickett, right? The defense gets beleaguered, right? They're on the field the whole time. You got CJGJ gets tossed from the game, which really hurt because you saw what happened when he wasn't in the game. There were some breakdowns in the secondary. So a lot of stuff happened yesterday, and it's Washington. And the one truism with Washington is that the Commanders, the Redskins, whoever they were, they always have a weird game and play the Eagles tough. And so they stole one yesterday. And that's kind of what it was. I don't really fear the division, right? They're gonna win it. They're gonna be probably the 2 seed, right? Like, that's kind of where they're kind of looking at. You'll be the 2 seed. That'll work out. Really, a lot of the drama is in the North because whoever's the 1 seed will be the 1 seed, and then they'll drop all the way down to 5. So you could have a 2-loss team that's sitting there in the 5th seed. So all the Eagles have to do is go on the road for 1 game, whether it's Detroit or Minnesota. Let's go. I think they travel. I think Barkley travels. I think the defense travels. So I'm undeterred, unfazed. It's just 1 loss. And again, it took forever for them to lose a game, and in which manner in which they lost. The only thing you worry about is health. And thank God you never want to deal with concussion, but it wasn't serious that Jalen's going to be out for the playoffs, right? So we'll see. He'll be in concussion protocol. We'll see how he comes. We know that he was trying to get back in the game yesterday. So I look at it and go, all right, it's fine. There's nothing to be concerned with. I all of a sudden I heard, the defense. Is the defense that good? I mean, it was one of those games, and we all saw it, right? Like, that's all that happened. And truthfully, the only way they're going to lose is if they play Detroit gets healthy or Minnesota. It's on the road, and it's one of those shootouts. I still feel great about them getting to the Super Bowl. I feel good about them going forward, going into the playoffs. So I don't have a lot of panic. I don't have any panic after yesterday. It was just, again, one of those things. So we got a lot to cover. And with the whole thing, we'll get to Zach Berman to kind of go through the ins and outs of yesterday. We'll talk to Fran Duffy to give us what we saw from the football end of it, on the scheme part, or from the films part of it. So we'll dive into that. Brain's back this week, so we'll talk to him. Lots to do, all right? Lots to unpack in the NFL. Good morning, VG. Violations Greg.
Good morning. How goes it?
It was great. I was running around the city all morning.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that Samuels and Son right off of Packer Avenue is the best.
You load up
Giuseppe's
on
Market.
fish?
I will.
Yeah?
Yeah, I will. We'll do the fish.
I've never been in there for the fish. I only learned recently the public could go in there and buy stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, they have Giuseppe's Market, right?
Yeah.
So that's open. They do a ton of wholesale. The big business is restaurant wholesaling. So you get all your fish and everything. But, they have the Giuseppe's Market. Anybody goes in. And I saw my man, Sammy Brown.
Sammy Brown?
Yeah, that family. They're a great, great family. Beautiful family. And everybody was lined up and getting their Christmas Eve stuff. I love that tradition. I think that tradition is the best.
I was at the bakery yesterday.
Were you?
Little Isgro's action yesterday.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the butter cookies to bring over.
Oh, the butter, really?
Yeah.
You ever have the pinoli cookies?
I bought a quarter pound of them last night.
They are the best. Now, I'm a Termites man.
Yeah.
And the Termites pinoli cookies are tremendous.
Yeah.
I'll make my way, stop around over there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyone who likes this weather, forget it. You're a psycho. These winter people, it is so cold this morning. Walking the dogs, it was like 13 degrees outside.
Yeah, it was bitter. It was frigid. I will say, I don't know what it is. Like, I hate it too.
Yeah.
But Christmas, I don't mind cold at Christmas.
I like 28 degrees in Christmas.
Yeah, dude, yes. yeah, without a
12
doubt.
and 13 at Christmas, I'm out.
No, I know. I mean, listen, it takes, I had to warm the car up for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, my car's 20 years old.
Right, same thing here. Like, you get that
yeah, you don't know if it's going to crank over.
You go, come on, buddy. Come on, I need you, man. I know it's cold. All right, well, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Oh, dude, national media. Jaden Daniels. Oh, here he is. Here he is.
I know, it was the James Daniels coming up. Listen, he's a terrific young quarterback. I do. I love Jaden Daniels. I think he's terrific.
Yeah, he's a good player.
All right, again, it was a weird game. It really was like almost an act of God, like all kinds of things. Like Jalen had to get hurt. Devontae drops a pass. He never drops that pass.
That's 2 drop passes. I mean, you remove those 2 passes, a Saquon drop and a Devontae drop.
Go figure, right?
Right.
Like of all things. And
he was great afterwards. He's like, I dropped it. I got to make the GD play.
It's no big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, it was weird because how the game starts, you're thinking Saquon's going to go for 300.
Right.
Like with Jalen in the game, he was unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Pickett comes in and Washington just loads the box and goes after it. I did think, and a friend of mine, Joe, brought this up to me, and I agree with him, that they should have went more play action with Pickett on their center.
You think? I mean, we've been liking play action just in general, but Pickett stinks.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he stunk in Pittsburgh. You got what you get.
Yeah,
he never looks comfortable in the pocket.
No,
he's got a rag arm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand how he's here, how he's making a career, but he is what he is.
Back up.
Yeah,
I actually, it's funny. I mean, I don't know. We only saw him in preseason, but McKee is always a guy that I always look at and go, I kind of like. I like his arm. I like his composure.
Yeah,
but Howie wanted a guy that's been around a little bit, that's started games. I get it.
I think there's a lot of positives yesterday, man. The offense is rolling early. First quarter, the problems we've had, it's 2 games in a row now that they've come out. They put some points up. Jake Elliott looks like he's back. He's grooving now.
Yeah, I heard people talking about the kick, and I'm going, well, it's freezing cold.
Yeah, the ball's like a rock.
Right, like you're kicking a rock. It's not going to carry. Right. So
it was straight, baby. It was straight.
It'll fall short. I get it. So what?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't really have any kind of worry. My biggest surprise was that Detroit didn't miss a beat.
Well, that's the thing.
Chicago's bad.
You see the headlights there, and you're like, the headlines and the highlights, and you're like, they're not going to catch Detroit, I don't think. Detroit's just rolling. Offensively, they're just good.
Chicago's bad.
Yeah.
And they're with the coaching change, they've been horrible.
Yeah.
So but I still thought that they would play him tough outside.
Right.
Right? Like heavy workload for Jahmyr Gibbs, who's terrific, but no Montgomery.
Mm-hmm. And
it just never materialized. And they went that. The interesting thing is that game 2 weeks, Lions-Vikings, could be for the 1 seed. And I'll be honest with you, I'll root Vikings all day long.
Yeah, of course. I don't want Detroit to play at home.
I'd rather go in the Metrodome, if that's or whatever the hell it's called.
Goff throw up 300 yards, 330.
Yeah,
Phew.
yeah. I in the call of frigid Chicago, I was kind of surprised at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little surprising they put up 36 points. The Commanders, right?
Yeah, but wasn't it one of those games, right? Like CJGJ goes out, right? So when Chauncey goes out, that's a big void in the secondary, right? Yeah. So I guess I'm not like freaked out over the fact that they went down the field at the end.
Yeah, just surprised. I did not think that they would put up that much points against this defense.
Yeah, well, listen.
Kick coverage, a little weird. The special teams.
Yes, well, special teams if there's one weakness that's legit weakness on this team, it's special teams.
Yeah. I don't know how. I don't understand. I mean, how it gets bad. They were starting at like the 38.5-yard line, I think, the Commanders yesterday. I don't know.
But the crazy thing about it is Washington turns the ball over 5 times.
Unbelievable.
Like, when do you ever turn the ball over 5 times and win?
Well, we had to hear that over and over again from the announcers who stunk.
Oh, my God. Joe Davis and Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
My God. They just
kept saying, how are they back in it? It's like, how are they back in it? We got a backup quarterback playing.
I got to tell you, they were annoying. They were to the point where I was like, oh, God, stop. Make it shut up.
Andrew,
how many times you're going to talk about, the timeout situation? And all right, like we get it. Like if you watch football, you don't need to go overboard with that.
Right. That was effusive. Greg Olsen yesterday was just unbearable, and he
didn't stop talking.
No,
he just was talking. Like, I get it. You're an analyst and you're analyzing the game, but a lot of the stuff, the insight wasn't great insight, and he just blathered. So
he's been getting beat up on the internet, on Twitter.
Oh, really?
And he's interacting and answering Eagle fans and stuff. And he was back and forth, but this one I liked.
Oh, what was he saying?
This one, Andrew, if you got it, I think I sent it to you in Slack, but I can read it. I'm not debating the offense was bad after Hurts left. We covered it in detail. Maybe you guys weren't listening or didn't understand.
You want to understand. Okay, you're a surgeon, Greg. You're a surgeon. You know, because football is science.
Right.
And all these people who have watched football since they were born don't understand the nuance of it.
Yeah. We showed coverage change, blitz plan change, lack of fourth down quarterback sneak. But when you lose your starting QB and the top defense gives up 36 points, the opposing team should get some credit. Fans don't like that. I get it. All good.
That's stayed skin. Like, why are you even interacting with that?
Yeah, and then he was again this morning because I guess people were ripping him nationally on some call-in shows, and he's retweeting it. Like, we're in his skin now. We're in Olsen's head.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
we are in Olsen's head.
Wow. But come on. What? It wasn't. The type of insight I thought was pretty superficial.
Yeah.
Like, how many times are you going to talk about the clock? Like, we get it. Like,
and the timeouts on this side of 2 minutes.
Yeah, all right. Like, we understand that. We know there's an extra timeout. Like, it's not that big a deal.
No.
2-minute warning. Wow, like that's new. I mean, come on, bro.
Brutal.
And listen, they're a good team. Like, the game gets wacky. That's what it is sometimes. The game turns wacky.
And it was due. I mean, what we talked about last week, I just thought they were due for,
Listen, I'm not one of these people that totally, you brought this up the other day when we were at Reading Terminal Market, that hey, it's good that, you lose a game or like you don't want to
I
go
wouldn't
in
be
with
upset.
a winning streak.
Yeah.
And I get it. It feels weird. You need a game where weird happens. And that was yesterday.
Yeah, and
So it's out of your system.
it's a little reality check. Vic's got something to get on people this week, get them refocused and stuff. A little kick in the butt.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Yeah. Now, we'll see if Jalen plays. If, he looked, you can't tell concussion, but he did look,
Heads up to the spotters who,
Yeah.
They find that and they were right. I mean, that's good work by
No,
They
well,
get
you're
beat
trying
up a
to
lot
say-
with the concussion stuff.
Right.
That's pretty good work.
Well, you're the whole idea is to protect the player.
Yeah.
So, that's, I agree with you. And I also think that, look, with Jalen's concerned, like, God, just put him in bubble wrap.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He's all right.
They're going to win it. They're not going to lose the division. If he doesn't play one more week, just get him right.
And either he plays Sunday against the Cowboys and then you shut him down, you'll get that week off. Everybody gets the week off against the Giants.
Yeah. If he gets out of protocol.
Right?
Yeah.
If he plays, then he gets the week. If not, then you play him against the Giants and you play him the half.
Yeah.
Right? Just to get the rhythm down. Because you don't want to sit him 2 full games. Right? So if he can't play Sunday, then you let him you bring him in for a half against the Giants. I think that's how you do it.
Yeah. The broadcast conversation is a hot one. Is Brady, is he more bearable than Romo and Olsen at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I'd
totally
rather
believe
have
that.
him than Olsen or Romo right now.
No, without a doubt. Romo just
That guy never shuts up.
he's insufferable. Olsen yesterday, I just thought he was speaking like just to keep the air from being naked. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like sometimes and broadcasting, sometimes you're worried about dead air, which you should, right? But sometimes you just got to breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Especially a game like that where there's so much going on that you just let it breathe a bit.
And I get it. It's a nice story, a young upcoming quarterback, but they're building it up to be, oh my God, like he's Lamar Jr.
Right.
The
mighty. And look, again,
he's going to be a good quarterback.
I love Jay Daniels. I mean, the thing that's interesting about him is if you watch him, like he'll go through his progressions. He knows exactly where to go with the foot. He knows how to read it. Like he's a really good quarterback. I love him.
He seems like a good kid.
Yeah, I know.
He's having fun out
I
there.
think he's terrific.
Yeah.
But like, it's not some grand statement for this season.
No.
Ultimately, you start to look, it's starting to crystallize a bit, right? Like I know Tampa lost and they're tied with Atlanta. Atlanta's got the edge on them, but they're a better team than Tampa's a good team, right? So if you have Tampa in the South, the Rams look like they're going to be the team in the West.
They haven't lost since the Eagles game. They're getting their side. I mean, it was an ugly game they won yesterday, but yeah, rolling 4 in a row.
They're the only team that I go sideways. I kind of don't want to play them.
I don't want to play the Rams.
Only because, I mean, not that I'm afraid of them or whatever like that, but only because you beat them. Their offensive line's healthier. Although,
they're going to struggle in the cold.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like you're going to bring Stafford out here in the cold, right?
Yeah,
like remember, he played for Detroit, but that's a dome.
Yep.
You're
a nice
looking for
weather
those
guy.
clean. Yeah.
I'm not worried. I don't even care about the Vikings, really. I got to be honest. I don't know why.
I know.
They just
I
seem
heard
like-
yesterday somebody was talking about Darnold, and it's like,
I
what
guess-
does he got to do? He plays well every week. But I feel you. Now, the only thing with them is their receivers are ridiculous.
They're really good.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just Jefferson, right?
No.
Like they come at you. Even Naylor, the third receiver, is good, right?
Yeah.
Hawkinson's good. Aaron Jones.
I don't know. Aaron Jones. Darnold and Aaron Jones don't worry me. I don't know.
No?
Aaron Jones isn't really an explosive guy. He seems a little labors
I don't know what
when
it
he
is
runs.
about Minnesota, but I still feel Minnesota. And maybe it's the NFC Championship game, right? Like,
How we own them.
yeah, I just feel like
Yeah, they're a franchise. They're cute. They're cute.
Yeah, like I feel you. I go, I'm not really worried about the Vikings.
Pat them on the head. Nice
Right.
season, Vikings.
Right. Good season.
looking
Darnold,
good.
nice.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Right.
It's nice, yeah.
Their defense is their run. Listen, their front is very good. Like they're good against the run. They're a little vulnerable in the secondary. Like you see AJ, EJ's the greatest, man. Like early in the first quarter, he's just uncoverable. Like you can't cover him.
No, that was with Lattimore on too. Especially those slants and stuff right off the line. He gets separation right away.
Well, yeah, because it's like getting position,
Yeah.
right? Like so he's the ultimate basketball player, right? Because he's so big, he establishes position right off the bat, and like in a post up situation because he beats you, and then he's so physical that you can't go through him.
Mm-hmm.
And all the PIs early was great.
Dude, there were so many penalties yesterday.
Oh God, it was over and over and over again. I mean, it was wild.
It was the first quarter and first half. I was like, it's 3:00. It feels like we're still playing the first half.
Yeah.
A long first half.
It went forever.
Yeah,
it did. It went forever.
They had 28 points in the first quarter. That's a lot of points in the first quarter.
I know. How you feeling? What's going on with Christmas? What are you going to be doing?
I'm going to my mom's, hang out. Yeah.
Keep mom
bringing
company.
over. So we're bringing the food.
You're going to bring the food?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
First
You're
one, we'll have my pop around. So, no, I'm not cooking. I placed my order.
Did you? What are you bringing?
We're bringing shells, some cutlets.
Some stuffed shells?
Yeah.
Love the stuffed shell.
Some baked ziti. I got a little place in my neighborhood.
Pasta.
Yeah.
The shells and the ziti.
Yeah. And with some cutlets, big Caesar salad.
Nice.
Yeah.
It'd be beautiful.
I'm not a cooking kind of guy. I don't have enough space. I have a tiny kitchen. I can't cook a big thing,
Yeah, I know. I mean, back then, yeah.
I don't have giant pots. I got pots for two.
You got, yeah. I got the big giant, because I'll make the crabs.
Yeah, I would love to have space for all that.
Yeah, like I'm going to do the crabs and spaghetti. That's the main one.
I may venture to the mall.
I'll do.
I bought nothing.
I was going over the menu today with Tam. I'm going, all right, what are we going to make? So
is it the same every year? Or you vary
No,
it
we
up?
switch up a little bit. There's 7. Like we try to do the 7 fishes, and listen, there's a whole.
Is it the same 7 every year?
No, listen, it should be. Like the tradition is, but I kind of put my own twist on it.
Yeah.
First of all, I do the crab. Like the crabs and spaghetti is the ultimate, right? And then we'll do I do these scallops. We'll have shrimp.
Nice.
Smelts.
I don't know what they are.
So they're little fish. The smelts.
Yeah.
You ever have the smelts, Frage?
I have. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, they're good. I do them.
My grandfather loved the smelts.
Yeah, I do it like the little breadcrumbs and. I'll saute them. And my father loves the smelts.
Yeah, they're good.
So
Are they the kind of fish?
with the bones?
They got the bones in them.
Yeah. You'll get the bones out. Like
Just one pull, all the holes.
Yeah, if they're right.
Yeah.
I usually do it.
They got the little heads on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My father loves them.
Yeah, I get it.
He goes nuts over them. So we'll do that. I'll do like a lobster bisque. I make a bisque.
So these smells, do you just bake them? What do you do with them?
No, I saute them.
Saute them?
With oil, olive oil, and butter.
So how many smelts are in the pan
There's
at one
bag.
time?
There's a bag.
All right.
So I'll get the bag.
A bag of smelts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the flour, right?
Yeah.
Do it up, right? Saute them. There's Jewel. There's Nicole. So we'll do that.
All right.
And do it up.
Does there a certain smelt smell?
No. They're just little fish.
It was like sauteed fish.
I'm
Yeah,
amazed.
that's all they are.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you're not a seafood man, are you?
I like fish.
All right.
Yeah. I just don't like little fish with bones in them and their heads on them. I'm out on
They're
that.
good.
That's right.
You see the little eyeballs, they're looking at me.
That's right. All right, we got lots to get to today. Coming up with my man Z Berman, Zachariah, not to be confused with Zacchaeus.
Nice game.
I know. Let's talk about some of our friends, shall we? Because it is Christmas time in the city, and you go, oh my God, it's Monday. I still got gifts to get. So if you still have a gift to get for your significant other, and look, there's no shame in it, right? Like we always wait. I wait. Golden Nugget Jewelers. It's where Philly gets engaged. And Golden Nugget Jewelers has incredible stuff because it's easy too. You go, diamond earrings, diamond pendants, bracelets. I mean, you name it. Beautiful, beautiful jewelry that she will love, all right? Could be your wife, your girlfriend, your mom, your aunt, your grandmother, or whoever it is. They will love Golden Nugget Jewelers. And by the way, if you met someone and you're thinking about popping the question, look no further than Golden Nugget Jewelers, all right? It's where Philly gets engaged. My man, Yaron's the guy to see. He's the owner. Go tell him I sent you. He'll sit with you. He'll work out through your budget, pick out the diamond, the setting, and it'll be beautiful. And maybe you're looking for a New Year's engagement. All right? Be perfect. Way to do it. GoldenNuggetJewelers.com. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged.
I walked past them last night.
Did you?
Just hanging out in that area.
You were on 8th and Chestnut
Jewelers
last night?
Row area.
Yeah.
Went to that Craftsman's Row Christmas
Yeah.
bar. They got it all decorated.
That's a good bar.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very festive. So, our friends over at TrueMark Financial, they got something going on pretty cool right now. They got this new Greenlight program, which will help you teach your kids some financial responsibility, which I wish I would have had back in the day. So we know how hard it is to win without proper coaching. So if you got kids, TrueMark's got the ultimate playbook to teach financial responsibility with their new Greenlight account. And the Greenlight account comes with the Greenlight app, and it's changing the game, helping kids and teens learn how to save, earn, and spend wisely. They get to set up their own savings goals, track their spending, and you can even give them an allowance through there. It's all right there in the app. And the cool part is, if I was a kid, if I was like 12, this is super cool. You get your own ATM debit card. You as a parent can control the limits on it, but they get to use it to make their own purchases. And, they feel like a mini adult. They learn some real world money skills while you stay in control of it all through your phone. You get the peace of mind, and they get the freedom to make smart decisions with their money. It's like coaching your kid through their very own financial game. And for all TrueMark Financial members, this cool program is totally free. So with the holidays here, now's the perfect time to introduce your kids to the Greenlight program. Get signed up today. Visit TrueMark.com/Greenlight for more information on this cool program, the Greenlight program.
All right. I like that. That's
super
very
cool.
That's
I would have
very
loved to
good.
be like 12 with a debit card.
I like it. What do you got? What do you point to, Fraze?
Oh, I got a picture of the little Christmas bar last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a little
Let me see.
festive. I think
Let me see that.
it's
Let me see
all
the picture.
decored out and decorated.
I
out.
love it. Wow, look at that.
Pretty
That
good,
looks
right?
fantastic.
Good Birds logo on the hat.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that.
Dude, there was a Grinch sighting too at the game yesterday. You see this?
No.
They showed him on the sidelines. He was on the commander sidelines. You got to be kidding me with this guy.
Yes.
Against the Eagles? Come on,
I know. You know, it's funny because if you own a basketball team and then you have a chance to buy a football team,
right?
I mean,
Yeah,
not that any of us would ever know that feeling, but you go football.
Yeah,
I think he's really swept up into.
You got to be
in football for sure. Got a great sighting. Oh, that's classic. That's great. We got Zachariah. Where's he at? Get Zach up here.
Yeah. He must be down at NovaCare getting some nuggets for us.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
Well, listen. Again,
Jordan Davis. We got any updates? Right, he got hurt too.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little concerned because they're already thin up front.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, that's one thing I'm a little worried about. The CJGJ thing was weird because all of a sudden he wasn't in the game, right? And you realize he got thrown out because he got his second personal foul. I don't,
He gave the fans a salute on the way out.
Yeah,
You see
the
that?
double bird. That was just great.
Love it.
So I was working the Eagles game last night, and we had Zach on the post game. And Zach, while he was on there, said the pool report was coming out.
Yeah.
And he said he might know more about that situation.
Well, what it was that he said something that was considered taunting by the official. So that's that's a personal foul. You get 2 personal fouls in a game, you're automatically ejected.
What are you saying now? I mean, I feel like those guys have heard everything under the sun. What are you saying that's going to get you ejected from a game?
I don't know.
How often does that happen?
Well, again, it's not. He didn't get ejected because of that. He got ejected because it was his second personal foul.
Yeah, but did they notice on the first personal foul that he got punched in the head by a Commander's player?
Yeah, well,
I mean, they completely missed that call.
Yeah, I mean, you know how that works, the instigator thing.
Yeah. That's a classic.
Yeah.
Right? Someone
But
starts and the one who finishes gets tagged.
Here's the thing. You miss him.
Yeah.
Like when he's out on the field, he's had a good year. I thought Slay played well too, even though what happened. It was weird because the defense gives up 36, but I don't know. I mean, there's reasons for the break.
Baldwin had a quiet day. He had the forced fumble, but he was quiet most of the day.
I still can't believe they forced 5 turnovers. Like, are you kidding me? And lose. Like, when you ever 5 turnovers.
I'll tell you when you lose your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
They might have eight turnovers.
Well,
and
that's
still
it.
lose.
Like, ultimately, right? Like, you go, they lost their starting quarterback in the first quarter after they were rolling.
Right.
Like, they were
21
just
points.
rolling. Saquon was roll. My man, it was funny. My man Nikki, one of our great viewers, said I had Saquon in 3 different tickets, plus 150, and 2 touchdowns. What did he finish with?
I don't know.
What
Probably
was
pretty
what
close
was the
to that,
exact
right?
number, right? But he had 175 and 2 touchdowns. Like, he was mapping out all and Saquon was on his way to 300. You know, like Saquon.
He had exactly 150.
He won 50.
Yeah.
So he still hit a couple. I mean, he was on his way to there. He's the best. You know, listen to him after the game. He's such a pro.
Yeah,
he's such a pro.
He's
He's a leader. He's personable. He's just terrific. All right.
Great composure.
This portion of the program brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. Joining us right now, who does such a great job covering the birds for our all PHLY family, allphly.com. Our man, Zach Berman. Zachariah, looking for a stocking stuffer? Get Zach's book. All right? Still not too late, right, Zach?
Not too late. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You can do some next day shipping and get that in time for Christmas.
All right. So let's a lot to unpack. First, let's tackle the big story, which, again, you lose your starting quarterback in the first quarter. The game gets weird. All right. I don't think it's a big deal at all.
No, I would say I thought they were executing well with Jalen, obviously. And those first 2 drives, Jalen looked sharp. I thought that they were able to move the ball freely there. And then you saw when Jalen goes down, Washington played the Eagles differently. I mean, look at Saquon Barkley at the end of the first quarter, had 100-plus yards. After that, he struggled to get yards. And they were saying after the game, Washington's loading the box thereafter, threatening Kenny Pickett to beat you. I didn't think Kenny played poorly. I didn't think Kenny did enough. When you consider the field position he was getting, the fact that the Eagles were forcing turnovers and not capitalizing on those turnovers, there's little reason why after taking a 14-0 lead that the Eagles should only be scoring 33 points. In that game, that should have been. They could have put up 40 in that game. They weren't converting on third downs. They weren't converting enough in the red zone. And the good thing with this is that this isn't the type of injury where you expect Jalen to be out come the playoffs. So I think the focus now is make sure that Jalen's right come the opening round of the playoffs.
So yeah, obviously he's in concussion protocol. We'll find out when, on Thursday.
Yeah. So usually Thursday, Friday for a player, if they're going to get out of it for that week, you would think by Friday.
Right.
Now, it's a little different with a quarterback because you would want your guy at practice, right? And so concussions get complicated there. It wouldn't – I can tell you I saw Jalen in the locker room after the game, walking around fine, was in sunglasses, but he wears sunglasses for style too, right? He wore sunglasses after the first Commanders game. It did surprise me, just to kind of give all your viewers some kind of color from the field. I thought Jalen was ready to go back in the game. First off, he went back to the huddle. He goes to the sideline. They put him in the tent. He comes back out. He puts his helmet on, and he's ready to go back onto the field. And actually, the Eagles trainer pulls him back in, and then Jalen jogged, not strutted, jogged to the locker room ahead of everyone else. So he didn't look like it was problematic. But at this point, maybe they're a little cautious with it. I think they would want to get him some work before the playoffs, but all that really matters is if he's healthy for opening round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. It kind of is what it is. And listen, once you lose the overall 1 seed, I mean, that's it. That's it. Like that you're slotted now. Like you're going to be the 2 seed, or you're not going to. You're not. It's Minnesota or Detroit will be the 1 seed. You'll be the 2 seed. And then you look at it. Is there an opponent that you're already starting to look at? See how it would match up?
Well, that's the interesting thing is that it looks like it's going to be Washington.
Yeah, that's what
It's
it feels
most
like.
likely going to be Washington. And frankly, I think that'd be a good outcome for the Eagles. I think the Eagles are a better team than Washington, regardless of what happened yesterday. I know when you play a team 3 times, when you play a team twice in 4 weeks, there's a lot of dynamics there. But I just think the Eagles are more talented than Washington. I think if Jalen's healthy, they win that game yesterday.
Yeah, so do I.
And so, yeah, Washington, look, Jaden Daniels is legit. And when you have a quarterback like that, you can always lose. But I actually think Washington would be a good matchup for the Eagles in the opening
I
round.
agree. I think it'd be a great matchup. A couple of things. One, they're playing with house money, right? Like, so,
Sure.
it would be Jaden. And I love Daniels, but it's his first playoffs. You saw what happened in the first quarter when Jalen was healthy. You look at, I still think they're vulnerable against the run. Like, if Jalen's in a game, Saquon's going for 200. Like, you could feel it. You could see it.
Yeah. Saquon said afterwards, like so much of the running game involves Jalen too, right? And you saw not just in terms of the way Washington played them, but some of the lack of efficiency in the run game, more negative plays. And an underrated thing Jalen does is, he gets the protection set up. I didn't think the protection was as smooth without Jalen in there. Yeah, I think that's a different game if Jalen's if Jalen's in and when they play in the playoffs. I think Jalen just changes the complexion of that game completely.
The other thing too is you can't gloss over is CJGJ gets thrown out.
Yeah.
So like that's a huge void in your secondary.
Absolutely. And you saw the way that affected them. You
Yeah.
saw the middle of the field, they were vulnerable. And it's not a coincidence to me that really the 2 times in recent weeks when you've seen the middle of the field vulnerable, this game and the Carolina game, it's when they were missing safeties. I think not to take away from, I mean, Tristan McCollum's a fine young player. He's a downgrade from both Blankenship and CJ Garner-Johnson. When he's not in there, when your starters aren't in there, they're more vulnerable in the middle. So you look at that Zacchaeus touchdown, right? You look at the Crowder touchdown at the end of the game. I'm not saying that result's different without or if Gardner-Johnson's in there, but that was a huge loss for the Eagles, and they were vulnerable in the middle of the field.
Hey, any word on Jordan Davis?
There was nothing in the locker room regarding Jordan Davis. I should find out more in the next 24 hours there. It's a good question. I didn't see anything there.
Anything? How else? You had Jalen, you had Jordan Davis. How else are they health wise?
Yeah, Sweat returned to the game. He
Right.
hit an ankle. He was getting some work done on it after the game. Will Shipley has a concussion, but otherwise, no. I think Jordan Davis and Jalen Hurts are the big ones to monitor here. And then also, look, they need Goddard back soon, right? And so that's one that we'll have to pay close attention to as well.
Yeah. What's he? I mean, he should be. He'll be fine for the playoffs, right?
Well, yeah, Week 18
Yeah.
would be the place to turn there. We should also note Bryce Huff could be back out there as soon as next week as well.
So how do you think it all depends on Jalen. How do you think they come up with the plan?
Yeah, so I think that they'll play this week the Dallas game like it's any other week. I don't think that they'll start sitting guys. I know the odds are long against them, but as long as there's a theoretical or mathematical possibility, I should say, then I think they play everyone. But yeah, the offense, I think they'll have a plan in place for Pickett and a plan in place for Hurts. Pickett, the offense is going to function differently with Pickett out there, and I think that Kellen Moore will need to put a more Pickett-friendly offense in place. But Pickett was finding AJ, Pickett was finding Devontae, and so there's something to be said there. But yeah, that's my guess is that they have 2 plans in place. I would imagine they would probably lean more toward a Pickett plan just because of the uncertainty of the concussion protocol. Like you said at the top of this conversation, it's different with the protocol in that it's out of the team's hands. So Jalen has to go through all the stages in order to be cleared to play. And that typically, if it happens, doesn't come until the end of the week, which is pretty tough from a quarterback perspective.
Yeah, it is. And, Pickett was funny. I would like to see him under center a little bit more. Like if it is a Pickett thing, this way play action will be more effective. I think it would help Barkley out a little bit more. And I get it. You're on the fly and it takes you by surprise. So it's hard to kind of readjust everything. But if you know going into it that he's starting, then I think that's what you have to do.
You're absolutely right. And just the timing with A.J. Brown and Devontae is going to be huge. I mean, they just don't get work with Pickett during practice. They were saying that after the game. So you saw there were a few plays there where him and A.J. where Pickett and A.J. weren't on the same page. So, a more under center to get that play action going. Probably less of, the zone read game. And then, obviously, the timing with A.J. and Devontae would be critical.
So, how do you view the defense on the other side of the ball? What's your overall takeaway? Let's start with the front.
Big picture or off of Sunday's game?
Off of yesterday.
Off of yesterday, I thought they were actually getting some productive rushes. Sweat got in there. I thought Jalen Carter was disruptive. I thought, I thought and they really bottled up the run. Washington wasn't moving the ball on the ground at all. So I actually thought the front played decently. I'm only through the third quarter right now, and I know everything kind of happened in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So maybe in about an hour, my opinion will be different. But I thought to the blind eye from that Washington press box, I thought the front was holding the run well and was putting pressure on Jaden Daniels.
Hey, Zach, when Gardner Johnson got the one personal foul, there's a lot of jarring back and forth. Jalen Carter's in the middle of it. Jalen Carter gets a second personal foul in 2 weeks. Did Nick address this at all? Is this something he's going to have to talk with Jalen, trying to take Carter to take his edge off a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, they're going to have to talk to everyone, and especially Carter and especially Gardner Johnson. Now, I had a piece up on PHLY last week where I spoke to Clinton Hurt, Eagles defensive line coach, who's kind of been hurt, who's been Carter's bodyguard in these situations, and he says, he likes the fire. He would rather if he has to coach juice and coach you to be passionate, then that's a problem. That said, you can't get flags, and emotional players will be baited. I think it's less of an issue for Carter, more of an issue for Gardner Johnson. Carter said after the game that when that first one comes, you can't let the second one fly. But yeah, I mean, Carter almost cost them the week before. That was tacked on after the punt, of course, but had it been tacked on before the punt, it would have been, a real costly penalty for the Eagles. So Nick Sirianni addressed it after the game, said they discussed it this week. They'll discuss it in meetings on Monday. But I think Gardner Johnson's the one who I would really focus on, because look, just like he tries to bait other teams are going to try to bait him.
Yeah, he did. People are saying in reports that he was on Instagram Live when he got kicked out with like 4 minutes left in the game, watching the game from the locker room.
Oh, really?
Gardner Johnson.
He's the best.
I wish I saw that. Yeah.
He's the best. Yeah, I got to tell you, I don't worry about Carter. I don't. I love his attitude.
I love it, but don't you think like once you get that reputation, the flags come quicker?
I mean, he's not as much as I bring up Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
Sue was crazy.
Sue was vicious.
He's
30.
Yeah. He's not that, but he's ferocious.
Yeah.
And I want to keep that ferocity. So
Can you keep it without him trending towards a Sue?
I don't care. I don't care. I mean, if I get a flag here and there, so be it. He's such a disruptor. He's such a beast. Mm-hmm. I don't worry. I tell you, it doesn't bother me.
All right.
I know you can't get a flag. I get it. But to me, I'd much rather I want ferocity. He gives that defense teeth.
Yeah, I'm not denying that at all.
So I don't care.
I think you guys be smart, a little smarter.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, I would, with Jalen Carter, I would err on the side of him being aggressive, passionate, whatever adjective you want to use there. But you do have to be smart too in playoff situations.
I think it's obvious. I get it. Like, it's 3rd and 12. There's an incompletion. you don't want to give them a first down by driving the quarterback's head into the ground. Right? So I get that. But give me the ferocity. I want fags, man.
I thought the personal foul on Carter yesterday was a little suspect.
So did I.
I thought the Washington guy took the ball.
Dive.
Yeah. But no, look, if they're in a big playoff game, you can't give a team a free 15 yards. I get that. I would just focus more on Gardner Johnson because CJ shouldn't be ejected from a game, and if he's not out there, it costs the team. So 15 yards is one thing. A disqualification is the other. So if you already have one on your belt, that's where you close your mouth. You don't do anything shit. You just get back to your sideline, especially after a fumble like that. I don't think it's value added on Gardner Johnson's side there.
Hey Zach, well, one thing I saw reports that Becton limped off the field on the final series. Did you see that or hear anything about him being banged up?
I saw him limping at one point. He does get banged up a bit, but I saw him in the locker room after the game, and there didn't seem to be an issue there. He was changing by his locker.
Cool.
Let me go here for a second, because if there's one weakness, it's not crucial, but if one weakness, their special teams got to get better.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I asked Nick after the game if the plan was to kick the ball short, because that really hurt them, and he said no. He said those were the conditions out there.
Yeah.
It was the weather, which is concerning to me because they're going to play a lot of those types of games come January, or they'll presumably will. If they're the 2 seed, which they'll be, they'll have 2 home games before before going on the road in the NFC Championship. And you got to tackle better, you got to cover better. You can't have that penalty. They basically gave Washington 17 yards, on that final drive, which is that's a free first down right there.
Yeah,
that is unacceptable. And I get the weather was an issue, or it's harder to kick that in the cold. But that needs to be shored up. And if you're kicking the ball short, your tackling, your coverage needs to be on point. Because 17 yards in a close game, like in a 4-point game, that's a tough spot. Or 5-point game, it's a tough spot.
Is there? Do you know what was in the decision making to have Mann do the kickoffs instead of Elliott this year?
Yeah, they've been doing that this year. I think they're looking for different types of kicks with the new kickoff rule, and they favor Mann there. A few teams have gone with the punter. They said that they worked both. They both spent time there during training camp, both Mann and Jake Elliott. They liked what Mann provided in terms of the directional part of it, but it's a good point. I mean, it's something that they should look at.
Yeah. All right. Overall, Zach, give us your temperature.
I wouldn't be worried about yesterday. The only thing I would say is the downside from yesterday is you're not gonna get the 1 seed, right? And they had a puncher's chance at it going into yesterday's game, and the 1 seed, as we've mentioned on the show, would have been critical. Would have been, having Detroit come here or anyone come here, having that first round bye would have been critical. So the path is a little more difficult from the 2 seed. It's not impossible. Certainly you see 2 seeds get through. But I thought that was my big picture takeaway yesterday. Some issues from the pass defense. I think they can shore those up. But really, this becomes a matchup league at this point, which is why the 1 seed would have been a favorable outcome.
What did you think of Coop yesterday?
Cooper DeJean?
Yeah.
I thought I actually had more of a I thought Quinyon Mitchell had a little bit of a step back yesterday. DeJean, I didn't think it was as egregious with DeJean. He did pick up that fumble. Washington was getting some work done in the middle of the field. But I look at Quinyon. Quinyon had a tougher day than he's had in the past.
Well, he got McLaurin, and I mean the only thing I could say is he did give him a little bit of a lot of space. Looked like he. Now I don't know if that was the coverage, but it looked like he gave him a lot of space.
Yeah, and this is the thing with these intra-division games is I remember after that last Washington game, one of the sentiments was they had to get McLaurin the ball more than they did. So there was obviously a focus in this game in getting McLaurin the ball, number one, and how he can run those routes against Quinyon. He got the better of that matchup yesterday. You'll see a round 3 in about 3 weeks.
Round 3.
Round 3.
Wow.
Rubber match.
There it is. Yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the
I
Commanders.
feel good about that. Zachariah, great stuff. What's on tap for you, buddy?
Appreciate it. On 2 o'clock, Bo Wolf, Fran Duffy, and myself will be in studio. We'll Fran's breaking down the film from yesterday's game. We'll clean up some of the notes from the locker room, some of the latest happenings. Nick Sirianni speaks at 3:15 today. I'll have all the coverage on that. It's a little bit of a different type of week with the Eagles with Christmas, but I think Thursday, Friday is when you'll get more of the substantive information about where the team is this week.
All right. I like it. Zach, great stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. We'll be watching.
Great seeing you guys. Happy holiday.
Happy
There
holidays.
he is. Zachariah Z-Berm.
You gotta do one more piece on this Olsen. Apparently, someone called in to like a Barstool thing yesterday.
Oh, really?
And
What happened?
shredded Olsen as a bum and stuff.
Oh, yeah?
And he heard it and he responded. He says, Eagle fans are the best. They lose for the first time in months after giving up 36 points, and we didn't make enough excuses for them. Sounds like we did a great job! Exclamation point.
He's feeling it. He's feeling it. Olsen, feeling it. Oh, that's great. Hey, we haven't had our man all week. He was out of the country.
Running around Iceland, I think.
He was in Spain and Iceland.
Yeah.
He, of course, the brain.
Brain.
Red, the brain finder.
Hello, brain. Where are you at? There he is. Welcome home, buddy.
I appreciate that, my friend. I appreciate back in New Jersey visiting the missus's dad, so having a good time here. But I got to ask a quick question. I was flying during it, and I just caught literally saw it on Twitter a bunch. How was it explained when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson talked trash or whatever, and then got punched in the face, lost his helmet, and he got the penalty? I don't. That's something I wouldn't have believed unless I had proof. I'd say you were lying. Like I'd say someone's lying or exaggerating. It was right in front of the referee. How was that? No one made a big deal out of that. Like I would have probably gotten 8 15-yard penalties if I was Sirianni.
Yeah, well,
like, how can you?
It was. I mean, that's what that was. It was egregious. You know how it is, man. Like they miss a guy, they miss it, and then what killed them was that's your one personal foul. Then you pick up the second one, and it's automatic ejection. That's a shame.
I got to tell you something, Anthony. It's interesting. You see guys like Mahomes, Josh Allen, and you say, "Wow, you lose a game because these guys are just great." Daniels yesterday, some of those plays he made, just freaking great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's at a level. He's a chance to be. He didn't show it the first game against the Eagles, but I think he has a chance to be a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, I agree.
I really do.
Well, if you look at him, right, he goes through his progressions, man. He's real, and then he'll go through his reads, does his thing. He knows when to run, when to extend plays. He's a terrific player. Listen, not this year, but he's going to be a problem. I still think the Eagles win. Assuming that it stays like this and they play Washington first round, I like the Eagles a lot. But down the line, he once they build that thing, he's going to be trouble.
I agree 100%. But listen, it still took. Think about all the things it still took for the Eagles to lose that game. You lose your starting quarterback. Devonta Smith drops a pass that, probably Stevie Wonder catches. It's like just one of those rare, fluky things. Then look, the quarterback again, Daniels made some incredible plays, which you got to give him credit for. And they lose a game at the gun, right? Because of everything like that happened. Again, Anthony, I'm just seeing it. Is Hurts? Has been any news if Hurts is going to play next week, or we're still there's no clue?
Concussion protocol. So we'll find out, Thursday, Friday type of thing. And Zach just brought up a good point. Like, because it's the quarterback, sometimes it's hard because you have to put the game plan in. You may see Pickett and because it's just a lot easier that way too.
Yeah. What did you think of Pickett, by the way?
I mean, I was unimpressed. Now, remember a couple things. One, you're dealing with coming in cold, right? The game plan's already in. It does if you have a full game to plan, like I could see them a lot more under center, a lot more play action. You kind of devise a game plan more towards what Pickett is. But yeah, if you ask me, I mean, he is what he is.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I just was, when I was seeing it, I'm like, oh wow, Jalen's knocked out of the game. But again, they still really, that's the first game their defense to me, Anthony, in like months is really, I guess. But again, I guess when you go against a great player who can make plays that the average Bear can't make, that to me is when you go against greatness, sometimes they can make you look not as good, even though you are good, right? And I felt just looked like Daniels to me just made a lot of good plays, but
he did. I think you're spot on. I think a couple things too. I think Sweat got hurt for a bit. Chauncey, CJGJ being out, ejected. That was a big deal. I mean, you saw all of a sudden middle of the field was an issue, right? That's because he wasn't in there.
Yeah, listen, again, and then look, obviously Detroit, give them credit. Obviously their defense got typically torched, gave up like 300 some yards passing yet again. But I mean, their offense is so freaking good, and they got it done. And now the Eagles out of the number 1 seed, which I thought was very important for them, Anthony. I'm going to be honest with you. I really thought that was an important thing. But they still can get, the 2 seed, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if they get the 2 seed,
looking good,
Yeah, because to me, Minnesota, Green Bay, I think you could argue. Anthony, I got to ask you a question. Minnesota, I know you haven't been on board. You got to Darnold at this point. I mean, this guy is just. I mean, he. It's now been like, at what point do you say, all right, whether it's whatever you want to say.
No, we were just talking about it. Yeah, you're right. Like, he's played really well. And yesterday he does it in the rain, right? Like it's rain, it's wet, it's not optimum field conditions. And look, their receivers are absurd. Their weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, they got 3 not just Jefferson, right? You go 3, their first 3 are terrific. You got, because you got Addison, the running back. You got Naylor, you got Hawkinson, a tight end. I mean, and
Aaron Jones.
Right. I mean, they're good.
He's a good receiving running back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're good. I'm going to tell you something. That is a tough team, Anthony. And again, I like the way that team is playing. I like the coach. I mean, that's a scary team. But again, that's a game where if that game was in Minnesota, I flat out would pick Minnesota over Philadelphia. But in Philadelphia, if that game, obviously, I would pick Philadelphia at home. I think that's a game that's pretty 2 even teams. Give me the home team. But, we'll see. But I'm getting that number 2 seed is extremely important. And there's still no reason they shouldn't be able to get that done.
It's not like the story of the weekend, though, besides if you take the Eagles out of it, the freaking Chiefs, man. They just don't lose.
I was like that today. One loss is wild.
I mean, they don't lose. They're freaking dangerous, man. Now you get Hollywood Brown back? My God.
Yeah, look, you got to look. All they do, it's funny. With light death taxes and the Chiefs win, right? I mean, it is unbelievable. Every pro I know wants to fade this team. Me and they just keep winning. They just keep winning. It doesn't make a difference. It's almost like, all right, if we're gonna win. If you guys against the best team, we're gonna win. Against the worst team, it'll be close, but we're still gonna win. It's almost like it doesn't mean what team you throw against them. It's just gonna be a close game. They're never gonna get the margin that you want to see, but they just always win. They always make those 3rd and 4 plays. Like when they needed to get a stop, the Texans, Mahomes just, he threw the ball, I think, to P. Ryan, and it was just, they just always make their execution in key spots, Anthony, coaching brilliance of Mahomes is second to none. And that's what makes them so good is they know, look, in these close spots, it's like they know they got confident. The coaching staff and the quarterback.
Yeah. Cowboys played well last night.
They did. Anthony, I got to tell you something. And that's something.
Their defense, they hit, man. That was a physical game last night.
It was a great game. And I got to tell you, and for all the guff
Vita Vea is a beast.
But you got to give him credit, McCarthy. The team has not quit. It wasn't easy to quit. It would have been easy for this team to go the way of the Giants. Very, very easy.
Yeah, I agree.
Instead, they've won, I think, 5 or 6 or whatever it is, or 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And they've actually played well. And
Yeah.
and Lamb's playing injured. Look, I give them credit. They could have quit. They haven't quit. They beat a pretty decent Tampa Bay team. And I'm sure they're going to come in here and give it a full go. So I do give them credit. But, if Hurts plays, I would like to think this is the game the Eagles should be able to hopefully fit.
Yeah.
Hey, Brain, last week with the Lions injuries and stuff, the Eagles were slight favorites to win the NFC Championship.
Yeah, they were.
But now I'm looking at, okay, they lost yesterday at Bet Parks. Now they're not again. Like, can it be that temperamental? Like, I mean, it's obvious they lost because Hurts is out. They were rolling with Hurts in the game.
No, but VG, here's why that was. I'm going to explain to you why it was. It wasn't just, yeah, you're right. Big picture, it's like, as you said, who cares? But here's what it was. The Eagles were basically on the doorstep of getting the number 1 seed. Okay. They were figuring in the Eagles were going to run the table. Okay. Eagles are going to finish 15-2. And if the Lions lose another game, Eagles will be the number 1 seed. And the Lions had to play at Chicago, less than a touchdown favorite. They had around a touchdown favorite. They had to play Minnesota at home. And they had to play at San Francisco. They're figuring they're going to lose one of those 3. And the Eagles aren't.
Yeah.
If the Eagles get the number 1 seed in home in Philly, Eagles are going to be favored all day over Detroit. So that was the reason for that. Now that that's been taken off the table, the Eagles will not be favored in Detroit. So that's the reason you've seen the flip back to Detroit.
Gotcha. Eagles are plus 600 now for Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
Seems like a good value.
Yeah. Hey,
look, they certainly have a shot.
What do you got? What do you got tonight? A big number. Green Bay against a depleted Saints team. Now, obviously, Rattler. Oh my God, they're just horrible, right? Like,
yeah, they are. But
I mean, no. Kamara.
I'll give you what I got, Anthony. Yeah, listen. First, I want to give you 2 before I forget. 2 NBAs, which I think are pretty good. Kristaps Porzingis over 16.5 points. 7-1 of the over this year. Went 72% over last year. That number should be like closer to 19, not 16.5. Derek White's averaging 17, 21-6 to over 13.5. Why they're making it 13.5? Not my job to figure it out. It's just my job to bet it. That line's too low. This game right here, look, the line's 14, Anthony. You have a completely impotent Saints team. The problem, like Dallas, as bad as they are, they have a good tight end in Ferguson. They have a good running back in Dowdle, or at least decent. They have a good receiver in Lamb. They have some playmakers like Parsons on defense. And they have at least a respectable, I'll use the word respectable, I'm not overrating them, backup in Cooper Rush. This Saints team really doesn't have much. Now, what I will say this, Anthony, there is a bit I do like here, though. Rattler, again, and I'm not a fan of Rattler, good athlete, but it's a game here I see that they're, again, a 2-touchdown underdog, right? Rattler, he's played 4 games, Anthony. In 2 starts, he had 243 and 172. Okay. And in 2 partial games against the Chargers, he had 156 and about 2.5 quarters. And in about 1 quarter, he had 135 against Washington. They made his over under 172.5. I say to myself, okay, as much as I can't stand this guy, it's not a matter of that. I think this over under should be higher than that. Now, Dorian Thompson-Robinson was my favorite, but the line moved like crazy. They opened his prop at like 214.5 against Cincinnati. That guy can't throw the ball even a lick. It closed like in the 180s. This one, Rattler to me is a better thrower of the ball than DTR. And this over-under is lower than his. That makes no sense to me. Again, to me, even though he's not quote-unquote good, I think this game script-wise, they're probably going to be trailing. They want to see what they have with this kid. Can he either be a regular backup for them, Anthony, or could he ever be a starter for them? I think they're going to really give him a chance to do that. I think he goes over the 172. I'm not saying they don't lose the game by a zillion, but he only has to get 173, and I think he gets to 173 in a game that they're certainly going to be trailing.
Yeah, I think it's a good play, a really good play. I agree with you. I mean, I don't know Olave, so that hurts a little bit, but I mean, he's got to throw to somebody.
They haven't had Olave though basically all year, and again, it's just look, they don't have anything. Look, Anthony, this is a barren offense, right? And they don't even have Kamara. It's very barren. This is just like the old Donovan McNabb teams with Pinkston and Trash and guys like that. Where you're just like, who do they have? It just right. They just torn small. I'm going back into some of these names, but they were just okay. This is what they had. They'll all just get their 35 yards each. But I just think the number's too low because it's still an NFL game. It's still an NFL team. Green Bay's defense not elite. I think he gets 200 yards. I'm not overstating it. I'm just thinking,
let's not forget that Nate Brown.
Nate Brown.
Nate
Brown. Good one, my
What
friend.
school did he go to?
NC State?
I thought it was Miami.
Can someone look it up?
Look it up, Frage.
I'm not that confident.
I'm not. I thought it was Miami. I'm not sure though. You could be right. Could be NC State.
Hey, Brain, if you want to make some money tonight on the hardwood, we got
Trash man.
We got the Huskies minus 11.5 against Seattle tonight. I think the Huskies roll.
Trash
Hey, first
man.
of all, the trash man is when it comes to this, no one better.
And
I knew
Nate
that.
Brown, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Wow. Hey, North
Oh,
Carolina.
man,
We both missed it.
sweet.
Damn. Let me ask you, buddy. College football. Penn State.
Man, you know what's funny? I got to tell you
SMU, that kid Jennings,
I bet SMU.
what wanted nothing to do with being. What you ever see a disastrous?
Well, I got to tell you, I'm watching this game with my kid, Anthony, my son. Don't ask me. I don't know why. I swear I don't know the why. I don't know the why. He hates Penn State at a level that I can't. I don't know why. I actually like Penn State, but he just doesn't. And he was getting in that game. They go down. They have a 4th and 1. The quarterback misses. And we're watching the game on like some bootleg thing or whatever like that in Iceland. And the guy the guy's wide open for a touchdown, doesn't get it in. Then back-to-back pick sixes. It was just not one of those games. Now, Penn State's clearly a better team, Anthony. I'm not saying they're not. Clearly deserve to cover everything. But I always say if that game was played 100, I feel like that game, just every possible thing that Penn State could have wanted, it was a dream scenario. The quarterback's throwing pick sixes. They're dropping easy passes.
Plus, it's cold. It was freezing, right? So
it was freezing. They didn't want to be there. The cold weather. It wasn't.
Dallas
and look,
kids.
Give Penn State credit. Look, and I was said Ohio State, man. I'm nervous, Anthony. I can't have them do it. I can't have them do it.
The
But
Vols
we'll
are
see.
horrible. That quarterback stinks. Yeah.
Dude,
I agree.
This whole playoff thing, man, the whole fact that the second round games are like minus 14, Texas minus 14,
For
and
the
Penn
other
State
teams.
minus 11.5. I mean,
Yeah, for
Lame.
the road team.
Well, listen, they got to fix the seeding. It's
Yeah,
not
they
lame,
will.
but they got to fix the
you know what I'm
seeding. I know.
saying? We should say some
They-
games the second round should be
They
games.
got to fix the seeding. You got to go to 16. You got to fix
I
the
agree.
seeds.
So you have to go to 16
Yes.
because we've seen that, like, once you're past the top 8, you're not going to compete with the
Doesn't
big
matter.
dogs.
It doesn't matter. I think you still got to go to 16. You got to play it like that. Just because 1 year is different, 1 year plays it
Well, you
out.
could have
doesn't
Alabama,
always be
Anthony.
that way.
You could have an Alabama and Mississippi, who you could argue would be right there with any of these other teams, and that would have been at least 13 and 14.
Alabama could easily beat any of these teams.
Easy.
on the right
and
day.
Mississippi, I mean, those teams could have been 13 and 14. That's just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
You probably could have found 2 others, I'm sure, that are at least. But I got to tell you, with the trash talking that Indiana's coach was making, Anthony, and then they're punting the ball, like it was the way he played the game when they're punting down.
Why would he punt? Couple of the things I didn't understand was
it was embarrassing.
It
Like, that
was.
to me, I'm watching it, and I'm like, he's punting down 17 at midfield. That's like saying, I have no confidence. And then he said at the game, he goes, I have no confidence in my offense. All right, well, in fact, you say that, I would. Certain things, I don't know. I don't get how you even get away with. I don't know how you say that. I don't know how you show that lack of confidence.
I agree,
in your
dude.
team.
I
was a
with you.
player in that team. Like,
The other thing,
dude,
the other coaching decision I didn't get, Brain. Why did Franklin go for it that deep in his own territory when you're up 14? You got 2 pick sixes. Your offense isn't uncorked yet. Punt the ball.
It's a disgrace. Again, it is these analytics. Again, I always say, who's checking the analytics? Like, who's telling me it's good to go from 4th and 1 at my 19-yard line? Where on what planet is that good?
Up 14
nothing. It's like read the room. It's not. It's just that's why I can't. These analytics, again, it reminds me in certain things, and I'm a math guy. They're brilliant. It's great, but when taken like in a way where it's just reckless, it can ruin your. They got away with it because they're playing a team they were better than. But man, Anthony, you make that decision. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Come on.
What did you make of the early lines? Because right away, Notre Dame, it steamed the other way to Georgia.
By the way, Anthony, was it 5 weeks ago you said it? 28-1. I mean, they're good.
I know
They're
you
good.
are,
They have a
I
real
love 'em.
shot.
Yeah.
Georgia to me, again, I do not like Georgia at all. I mean, I think Notre Dame's the better team. I really
So do I.
I think Georgia was very, very, I don't want to say lucky, but fortunate to beat Texas. Look, we'll see. I mean, but I look, I got to be honest. To me, it's just I feel I say to myself, and I'll let you guys run in a second. If you're Oregon, okay, I'm just saying, I just say to myself, wait a minute. We beat Penn State in the Big 10 title game, or big, and we're the number one team in the nation, undefeated. And you give Penn State that schedule in the playoff, and you give us this. I would actually be furious. I'd be like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I know. No, it's crazy. I mean, the fact that Oregon's got to play Ohio State and Penn State's got Boise.
It's just, what it is?
Texas gets Arizona State. Are you kidding me?
What about this to make it fun? I'll let you guys know. That last thing. Anthony, I liked your idea again with the NBA, by the way, I was so happy to see that the ratings are plummeting because all these 3-point shots.
Yeah.
But you're like, all right, with this cup thing, maybe change it to NCAA tournament format. Why don't they do this? Which I think would be great for rivalries too, and for trash talking. Whoever wins, the coach is the higher seed, gets to choose who they play.
Yeah.
I love that.
I would love that.
You know what?
Yeah.
Listen, we think you're worse than the other team. We're playing you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then you get the other teams like, oh, they're not respecting us. Yeah, I would love that.
I agree.
I think it would be great.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, that's good.
Great stuff, buddy. Brain's
See you guys
back.
tomorrow. Be good.
See you, buddy. There he is. The brain is back. Hey, let's talk about some of our friends. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some Ace?
I saw these guys this morning in my neighborhood.
They're the
Someone
best.
getting work
Ace
done. I'm like,
Hardware Home Services.
these people can relax. They got some good people coming out to do some work. Ace Hardware Home Services. You know the drill. Got a leaky pipe. Got an air conditioning issue. Ace got a guy for that or a person for that. Got a faucet that you said you'd fix and it's still going on. They got a person for that too, because they're not just the helpful hardware folks. Nah, Ace now is also the helpful home services and repair folks. Right out to you with trusted technicians, plumbers, techs. They do repairs, seasonal maintenance, installations, upgrades. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they got trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services. We're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love, from the store now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com and get started on your next project, man, with a little peace of mind that you got some good people coming out.
Ace, the helpful place, now at home. All right. Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. Brain told you. So just to reiterate, he likes Porzingis over, all right, his point total. And he likes Derek White over his point total. Oh, Celtics. Celtics. We got Christmas Day, Sixers Celtics.
It should be a great day, Sixers Celtics, but it's not.
I know. Then he likes over Rattler passing yards, over the Rat. By the way, the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino every Friday. Double the spread. That's right. They double the spread. They pick a game every week, and then they double it. So check the Bet Parks app every Friday at noon for the weekend selected pro football game where they double the spread. Again, they pick one game every weekend, and they let you double it, right? It's fantastic. It's a great offer for all Bet Parks users. You heard us talking about the college football playoffs and all the stuff. I like Notre Dame over Georgia again.
Surprise, surprise. You like Notre Dame. How about that?
I'm sorry. When they were 28-1, nobody else was touting them except me because I knew they were good. Don't forget.
Anthony Gargano. Add a little O apostrophe to your name.
Don't forget, there's always a way to win on the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. You got all the props that you want, all right, live in-game stuff. And don't forget, make that note. Every Friday, Bet Park Sportsbook app lets you double the spread. BetParks.com has all the details. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Ohio, Michigan. You got to be 21. Maryland, by the way, too. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. This portion of the program is brought to you by Rite Aid. Go to riteaid.com for your nearest pharmacy, your scripts, your last-minute stuff, whatever you need at Rite Aid. Now, let's go to our man who is in the middle of dissecting the wild day yesterday in Washington. He, of course, Franny Films.
They do not crave food nor drink for nourishment, for they exist solely on the glow of the all-22 monitors. They are the Leatherheads, and he is Franny Films.
There he is, Franny Films.
That was the first time I've gotten to hear the intro, and the intro is outstanding. Very nice job.
The glow of the monitor of the all-22. That's you, my man. All right. Let's a lot to unpack from yesterday. Bizarre, weird day. And it's Washington. Give us your 50,000-foot breakdown. We all know, Jalen out. It skews everything. What did you see?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been through the majority of the offensive film. I'm going to go through the defensive film as well. Obviously, this morning, going through the offense, I mean, I was a little bit disappointed with the offensive line from a run game standpoint. Going back to week 11, the issues, remember, that was a Thursday night game, so you got a short week. Things were a little bit sloppy from an assignment standpoint. I thought here in this game, guys just lost up front. I didn't think Mekhi Becton played particularly well in this game. The tight ends did not play particularly well from a run game standpoint in this one. And then you had, a loss here or there from someone like Lane or from Cam Jurgens or Dickerson, so those kind of popped up. And then you get to 3rd and long, and it was obviously, look, the Eagles were 3 for 13, 3 for 16 on 3rd down. So ultimately, that led to the inconsistencies we saw offensively. Obviously, look, Pickett wasn't great, but I didn't think they lost the game directly because of Pickett. He played like a backup quarterback typically would play when he gets inserted into a game like that. Obviously, he's not like this A+ physical talent, but I thought that he did enough for them to go out and win this football game. You had a number of drops elsewhere, and then the run game was basically a non-factor for the final 3 quarters. And so ultimately, that's what I felt, after going through the offense.
Yeah, I was curious because I guess, listen, if you have a full game. If Jalen can't go on this week, then you have a full game to kind of game plan with Pickett, which I would guess that they would run more Pickett on their center so that it opens up more traditional play action.
Yeah, I was surprised that they didn't do that a little bit more yesterday as we were watching the game on the watch along, that we didn't see a little bit more under center. But honestly, like everything that they were doing, they were playing all the hits, like all their normal stuff from a run game standpoint, and nothing was working particularly well. Again, because I thought the tight ends, just got beat at the point of attack too often. It felt like a lot of people were coming down on Calcaterra, and he didn't have a great game there. But CJ Uzama did not have a very good game in the run game. I mentioned Becton. There were a number of plays where Becton was the guy I kind of wrote down as like, all right, he lost at the point of attack, and that changed the outcome of the play. And so I think overall they would look at this offensively as a staff and say, yeah, we just did not execute well enough up front in this football game.
Yeah, and listen, it's funny because Becton, that was his first game where I thought he just didn't play particularly well. All season he's been a beast over there.
Yeah, especially, I mean, like the inconsistencies have popped up every once in a while, but they've been more in pass pro. Like in the run game,
right?
Look, he'll have like a bad step here or there,
yeah.
or maybe his hands weren't where they needed to be. Here in this one, you had a bunch of, there were a bunch, there was Greg Olsen pointed the one out on there was a first down run that resulted in a run for -4 yards where he stepped left and everybody else was going right. But even plays where, hey, he's one-on-one and he's going to have the kick out block. Like he just didn't get movement. He got stood up at the point of attack. So we just didn't see enough there from Becton in this football game.
All right. So let's unpack defensively because it was a weird day. I mean, even defensively, Sweat goes out for a bit. You lose CJ Gardner-Johnson, which kills you, which means McCollum's got to play, and that left a lot of open space during the comeback. I know you haven't gone through it yet, but what was your takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the big thing was that this was a team that has been so good on 3rd down at not missing tackles at containing quarterbacks in the scramble and not giving up explosives. And it wasn't a terrible game in all of those areas, but they gave up enough in all of those areas yesterday to overcome the fact that they forced 5 turnovers. Like, it's very rare for a team to force 5 turnovers on defense, score 30 points on offense, and not win the football game. You know, we saw Quinyon Mitchell give up that long play for a touchdown in the first half, but then you get missed tackles on 3rd and 11 scrambles that go for 22 yards. You have these individual plays that's like, oh, all right, that's not typically what we've seen from this unit. And that's why, honestly, like, when I look at this game, and honestly, I thought multiple times yesterday about our conversation on Friday over at Reading Terminal. Greg, you got to feel pretty good after coming out of this, because this was something that you were hoping for, this loss going into the postseason, and they did not have their A game. Yeah,
you can thank me for it.
Greg.
Thank me for it.
Greg's the mush. But I think when you look at this group and you say, all right, you've been able to rely on elite defense and an elite run game for the majority of the season. And then you have Jalen Hurts and what he's able to do. All right, well, Jalen Hurts is removed from the game. The run game was not A+. The defense was not A+. And you might say the defense was like a B, and the run game was like a B over the course of the entire game. That's what you get. You lose that game, even though you still had those splash plays on both sides.
Yeah, and again, you can't like minimize some of the stuff, the losses, like, again, without CJGJ middle of the field. I agree with you with Quinyon. It looked like after he got beat, he was giving up a lot of space. It looked like he was playing soft, real soft.
Yeah, and that's what, like, once I go through the film, getting a sense of, like, what some of the coverage calls were, because sometimes you'll be playing off if they're rolling coverage one way. Yeah. We talked about that last week, that was something I saw against Pittsburgh. It was, all right, well, they're rolling coverage towards one side of the field. Well, typically that means the coverage that they're rolling, the direction that they're rolling the coverage towards, that corner will play press, the other corner will play off. So on some of those plays where Quinyon is playing with depth, were they rolling coverage the other way? Right. Or is he not playing press on a play when he normally would? So those are the things I usually pick up after going through the film. I woke up this morning, guys, and go outside to go grab coffee, and 2 flat tires in the back on the back of the car. So it required a last minute trip to the mechanic. Shout out to Tookney Auto for getting me in and out this morning.
Wait, did you run over a chunk of glass that you didn't know about? Did someone puncture your tires?
Look, we're going to have to go through the film and see exactly what happened.
Ring cameras.
All I'll say is, at least we were able to make the mid-game adjustment and get me in
it wasn't weather related. It wasn't like the cold. The cold will sap the air out.
No, they required 2 full replacements on the back end. So it was
that's a hefty price right before the holidays.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. Not fun.
Beans, man, that stinks.
Yeah, tires are not cheap.
No, that's terrible. Oh my God.
Good way to start the week.
Yeah, no, listen. All right, so let's kind of unpack. Let's look at the front. All right.
Yep.
What did you see from the front? Obviously, Jordan Davis goes down. Right, Sweat was out a little bit. What did you think from the defensive front?
Yeah, I thought we saw some flash moments from those guys. Ultimately, just not being able to get home enough to finish for sacks, and that's been the big thing we've seen from Jaden Daniels throughout the majority of this year. I mean, he got sacked a bunch last week against New Orleans. I think he ended up with 8 sacks, but ultimately this year he's done such a good job of avoiding the negative plays, not getting sacked, not turning the ball over. So yesterday, look, they got the turnovers that we haven't seen from this Washington offense, but they didn't result in a lot of sacks in terms of like the pressure getting home. So they weren't able to finish. There were a number of times where I thought the rush, a lot of times when you're facing a scrambling quarterback, especially a young quarterback, you might say, all right, hey, you know what? He's got a propensity to roll to his right. So we're going to organize the rush so that when we get instant pressure on him, he's going to roll right, and we're going to have someone there waiting for him, right? We're going to set the trap for him, and they did it. And there was the play where Jalen Carter misses that play in the open field, where you could tell, like, the way that the rush was able to get home was designed to get him to Jalen Carter, but then he makes Jalen Carter miss, right? And so you had those kind of plays where it's just like, the defensive line just couldn't finish when they had that opportunity to get that big play. But overall, I mean, they were around the quarterback a decent amount. Obviously, just didn't result in those huge sacks there on the back end.
All right, linebackers.
Yeah, I mean, more from the same from Zach Bond, right? Where you see the forced fumble, you see him kind of harassing the quarterback. He made a number of run stops in this game. I mean, the run game was a non-factor for Washington for the large majority of this football game.
And they like to run the ball with Robinson.
Yes.
They like to bang you up and tenderize you a bit. And I thought the Eagles again they're really stout against the run, man. They really are.
And they do it with light boxes. It's not like they feel like they've got to load up at the line of scrimmage. Though they played nickel the large majority of the game yesterday, and they played with 2 high safeties. So they basically said, like, try and run the ball against our 6-man front and see how much success you have. And this is a team that, as you mentioned, they want to be able to run the ball. They've been really effective at running the ball. When you look at success rate and how often they're able to move the chains and keep things going, stay efficient. Brian Robinson got nothing going yesterday. Jeremy McNichols, Rodriguez, they could not get anything going from a run game standpoint in this game. Now, the one aspect where they were the scrambles, and that's Jaden Daniels drops back and he's able to create, and we saw some of those late in the game, and that's where we saw some of the issues at linebacker, where Nakobe Dean had a missed tackle in space. Zach Bond had one where he over pursued. So some of those missed tackles, that's been the uncharacteristic thing that we saw from this defense.
I brought this up to Zach earlier, but I got to bring it up to you. If there's one area of concern, special teams, man.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, it was brutal. And look, they said yesterday that it was weather related, and maybe that's part of the reason why Jake Elliott came up a little bit short on that 56-yarder. At the end of the half, in the second quarter. But I think when you're looking at the kicking game, too often, I mean, look, that final drive, right? I mean, instead of it starting at the 30, you kick a touchback, you kick that in the end zone. They start at the 30. You start at the 43, you just gifted them a first down. So if you're a kick return unit, if you're a punt return unit, that's their goal more often than not, is to say, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll get a touchdown once a year you get a touchdown, but can we get our offense a free first down? Can we get them 10 yards? And that's exactly what, by playing the way that they did yesterday in the kicking game, too often you were able to give Washington a free set of downs by allowing 40 starting at the 43, starting at the 47. The coverage units were not good enough in yesterday's game.
So it appears that Washington will be the first round. The way it looks, it'll be the trilogy with Washington. I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel great about it. And in fact, I actually, to VG's point about losing the game, it's actually even better, I think, that they get tripped up yesterday. This way you go in, you're buttoned up. We saw what Jalen did the first quarter and how they jumped out to that big lead. So I would feel great about getting Washington in the first round here.
Yeah, I'm not particularly scared of this football team here for the 2024 season. So, if that's the first round matchup in the first round, I agree with you, man. Look, there's a reason why I said this was a one gummy game to Greg on Friday. I felt like this matchup, and it was gearing up to be that. They jump out to that 14-0 lead. You're like, all right, this feels like this is going to go the way we expected. It was a Washington line going in. I think we may have talked about that. The fact that it was only 3.5 points, that was the only thing that gave me pause going into this. But I think ultimately the Eagles just match up too well against this team. In the first time they played in week 11, it was a little bit sloppy offensively. They left a lot of meat on the bone, both in the run game and in the pass game. And here in this one, there was just a lot of different factors that led to this game going the way that it did. But I think if both teams are fully healthy, the Eagles beat this team handily in a playoff matchup. And honestly, it reminds me a little bit of back in 2022 when they go in and they play the Giants for that third time, and it was like, it's tough to beat a team 3 times. There was all this concern, and then they just run them off the field. That's that's kind of how I envision it. That said, I do think what they're building there long term, this is going to be a good team.
Truth. Yeah,
I think this is going to be a pretty good team here in the next couple of years. And so, once they start getting a couple more pieces on defense, they get him another weapon, Jaden Daniels, offensively. This will be a team that will be a factor in the NFC.
I love his sweater.
Do you know what it's from?
Merry Christmas. Where is it?
You filthy animal.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Home Alone.
I thought, I couldn't see what was underneath it. Yeah, but of course, Home Alone. I love that. I love that sweater. It's fantastic.
No, this is I picked this one up last week, so I figured I'd debut it here this week.
Nice. Hey, can I ask both of you, smart football people? I know Goddard's not playing; it has something to do with it. But in the last 2 weeks, it's been like 30 or 33 catches to AJ Brown, Devontae, and 1 to any other receiver or tight end not named Devontae or AJ Brown. Is that something that's going to have – can they sustain that in the playoffs, or are they going to have to find ways to spread this ball around a little bit?
Yeah, you'd love to be able to spread it around a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. Like after watching this morning, the big thing where they miss Goddard, they miss him as a blocker.
Yes.
They miss him in the run game. They have to have serious conversations because again we talked about like Ozoma did not play well in the run game yesterday. Calcaterra did not have a good game in the run game. EJ Jenkins, that's not his game. They either need to go and they need to find a blocking tight end on the free agent market or off a practice squad, or they need to start leaning into like 6-0 line sets and like using more with like Tyler Steen on the field. They did it once late in the game.
Yeah.
They did it by necessity in the game that Goddard got hurt.
I would go that route. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to do something. Maybe they might think that, hey, playing 6-0 line is predictable and that teams know we're going to run it. They need something. They need some kind of an answer because now as teams continue to crowd the line of scrimmage, and even when Jalen's healthy, I think this is still an issue that needs to be talked about. They need to be more assertive in those kind of situations. And look, they've been one of the best run teams in football, so it's not like this is like a 5-alarm fire. But I do think that especially with this injury, it showed up. They have to be able to run the ball consistently, in those situations.
Yeah, I'm not worried about spreading the ball around. Though. No. I listen, there's just so many touches that are going to go around. AJ's got to get fed. Saquon's got to get fed. And Gainwell will get a few. Devontae is going to get his. So I just don't think there's enough
so is it that,
to go around.
Devontae and AJ, if they're the progressions 1 and 2, one of them's always open, so there's no need to go to a third progression?
Right. Well, listen, you'd love to utilize the tight end more, right? Like you just would. But again, I'm not overly concerned because I don't know about you, Franny, but there's just so many touches to go around. And when you're this run dominant, I just think that limits everybody else.
Yeah, the volume isn't going to be there, for those other guys. And that's why, there's I know there's a section of fans that are like, oh, like Odell Beckham Jr. or Deontay Johnson. Like, that's just, that doesn't do you anything, I don't think. But when you have all of the weapons that the Eagles have at the top, to your point, like AJ, Devontae, and Saquon, they're going to be the priority. When Dallas is healthy, Dallas is going to get his too, right? And so at the end of the day, like that, whoever that player is, and this is the conversation we had when it came to Jahan Dotson as the season was progressing. It's like that player just isn't going to get a huge amount of touches if this is going to be a running football team. Right now, if this was a team where they're going to throw 70% of the time, then you want that third receiver to be someone, right? That's going to be a volume target. But in the meantime, I mean, that's why like OZ was a great third receiver because he was such a good dirty work player, right? Like he was going to be a good blocker. He was going to do some of that stuff for you. Jahan Dotson isn't a great blocker, but he does a lot of the clear out stuff. We've seen him set good picks on rub routes like that. That's the kind of dirty work that he can do, kind of as that sacrificial lamb in the receiving core. But I think when you're looking at this group overall, you do want them to kind of spread the love a little bit, but I don't think you're going to turn that dial up too often.
All right, let's go league wide and look at it because interestingly, I thought the Lions might struggle. I know the Bears are in a complete mess. The coaching change, they're just tragically bad. I thought going in there when it's cold on the road, Goff's out of it. You got no Montgomery. That maybe that the Bears could bite him a little bit, and it just was a one-sided piece.
Yeah, I think that, when you look at the Bears and you fire Eberflus, not only did that impact the team, but also like the defense. Like he was the defensive play caller.
Yeah.
And so that kind of took away from that defense a little bit. So I thought that was a little bit of a pipe dream, hoping that I was hoping the same as you, Ant, that you get a little bit more fight from them. But I think the Eagles' best bet in Detroit dropping one would be next week against San Francisco. And obviously now you need them to drop both. So we'll see exactly how that plays out with Detroit.
I'm just going to go down through the list. The Rams win at the Jets. The Rams look like they're the team out west. And I do have a little fear. Not like huge fright, but I think they're a dangerous team.
Yeah, and you would play them on the road. They are at home, like making them come out east. I did hear a number though this week where I think it's McVay and Stafford together are now after this win this past week 8-0 when they come on the road when they make that East Coast trip.
Wow,
that's a tough offense. When you look at that group, this when we talked about it back then. And that's what I remember saying to you guys that as the Eagles were preparing to play the Rams, I said this would be my team for the West if they can stay healthy, just because of those pass catchers. That defense is feisty. That pass rush can get after you a little bit.
I thought the same
they gave
thing.
Rodgers fits yesterday.
Yeah, I was with you. I always thought they were dangerous. As long as you protect Stafford, he'll dart you.
Yeah. Yep.
The South is interesting because so Tampa goes down. And by the way, the Cowboys hit last night, man. That was a physical game last night. So Tampa loses. Atlanta, the Giants are just so bad. Like, they just quit.
Yep.
Atlanta with Penix making his first start. They win. That's going to be interesting to see who comes out. I think Tampa's better than Atlanta, but we'll see.
Yeah, and Dallas, we'll talk about Dallas later this week, obviously, with the Eagles playing them this week. But Mike McCarthy might be okay, in terms of saving his job.
I know, they didn't quit.
If you're an Eagles fan, you might feel great about this outcome with Dallas winning 4 of the last 5.
Yeah. Well, they didn't quit. But I will say this. Their secondary can lay hat.
Yes. Yeah, that back seven's going to run around and hit you. They were missing 2 of their best defensive players again. Overshown got hurt last week, obviously. That's a long-term deal. But Trayvon Diggs got hurt. But, when Micah Parsons is on the field for them, and remember, Parsons didn't play, in that game a few weeks back against the Eagles. But when Parsons is on the field, that's a different group.
Yeah. Can we stop with the Gannon is such a great coach and such a great defense?
Eliminated.
They're eliminated. And Carolina put up 36 on them.
They just they don't have talent. Like they need talent on both sides of the ball. And they've loaded up and they've had a lot of draft picks the last couple of years, but I don't think they're quite getting their bang for their buck. Like, they bought in a lot of guys who are they're tough and they're versatile, but they just don't have like enough blue chip talent. So I think that's going to be the priority for them as they go into this offseason.
Then of course the fascinating thing is going to be who gets the North. Is it Minnesota? Or is it Detroit? And man, Minnesota again, like, their weapons are just ridiculous because Addison's terrific, Jefferson's Jefferson, Naylor's good as a third receiver, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, they're nasty. That offense is nasty. Even with Darnold, and he's played well. He does it in the rain yesterday in Seattle.
Yeah, and the scheme on both sides of the ball is going to give people a lot of issues going into the postseason. They do a great job of scheming guys open, making things really well defined for Sam Darnold, a quarterback. They'll get you some running lanes there for Aaron Jones in this run game, and then defensively, like Brian Flores, he's as tough to go against as anybody in terms of what he does from a pressure standpoint and from a disguise standpoint. So they're going to give people a lot of problems going into the postseason. That's going to be a tough matchup, whether they are the 1 seed or whether they go in as the 5. That's a tough draw.
It is. In the AFC, damn, the Chiefs, man, it's unbelievable. And then you get Hollywood Brown back, and now all of a sudden, if they can protect up front, they're not getting beat, because all of a sudden Andy's got weapons for Mahomes. You got three receivers who are all weapons, and Kelsey, and a running game that's fully healthy. They're all of a sudden, to me, the favorite again to come out of there, even with Buffalo.
And that's what, you hope that if you're a Chiefs fan, that the complementary nature of that happen. All right, now the offense isn't pressing as much. They're able to create some of these explosive plays. Does that help Spags and the defense in terms of being able to pressure, turn the knobs up from a pressure standpoint? They're starting to get a little healthier as well. Also, particularly on the back end, they're hoping to get some of those corners back. And so I think when you look at this defense and you look at this offense on that side, it looks like they're going to get the 1 seed. So now, if you're Kansas City, you got to feel good. Everyone's going to come through Arrowhead. We're getting healthy. We're starting to peak offensively at the right time. Are we just due for another Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Steve Spagnuolo playoff run where all the things that we've seen from them in years past, they turn it up again in January?
Yeah, the only thing that could derail them in my mind is their line, is their O-line.
Yeah. Yep, that's a big question for them. And it was something that kept them from winning that Super Bowl against Brady and the Bucs a few years back. That's when they went back, and that's when they completely replaced a number of guys along that offensive line. That could be an issue for them, because even though as they've been churning guys out, guys still keep getting hurt. They had to move Joe Tooney to left tackle within the last couple of weeks. They're just constantly trying to shuffle chairs right now. But if they can get that group to settle in and get healthy, that would be the last big answer you'd have about that team.
Know. Now, I got to ask you, lastly, college football. What would you make it a weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping for more in terms of just the quality of the competitiveness of these games. It's funny. Professor Danny Selman was asking me on Friday. He asked the on the PHLY Eagles show, why is it that in college football in these playoffs, like it's always these huge spreads, the favors always cover, you never get upsets? Like, why is it that there's no parity? And, I gave it a lot of thought as I was watching these games, because obviously I wasn't like as invested in the games because they were all laughers for the most part. Clemson trying to make it a game late. But other than that, I think that there's just look, it's a step in the right direction getting to this 12-team playoff, and it's going to I think that's going to keep increasing. They've got to get the seeding thing figured out in terms of feeling the need to give conference champions the bye, because that's
Oregon
the thing. Is right now,
get Ohio State, and Penn State gets Boise, and Texas gets Arizona State. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so now where you're basically paying for this poor decision from the powers that be for 2 straight weeks, where you had weird matchups week 1, and then now we got these. Look, we got a couple great ones like that. I can't wait for Georgia Notre Dame. Like that's going to be a good game. There's some good ones here, but then to get like Texas and Arizona State, like all right, like I guess I'm excited for that. Boise and Penn State should be a good one as well. But I think ultimately, I don't. They need more realignment. I think to get to where the parity is going to really get to the point where we expect with the NFL, right? And maybe this is a pipe dream, but I think that they're going to need to expand the playoff a little bit more, because remember, like it's 14 teams in a 32 league for the NFL, right? We're talking about 12 teams for what are there 134 FBS programs, right? And the strength of schedule, trying to determine like Indiana, they only had 1 loss all year. Well, they didn't play anybody. Like they you beat up on Purdue and Michigan State and Minnesota. That's not comparable to what Alabama and South Carolina and Ole Miss and some of these other teams did over the course of the year. And there are other teams as well that you could have made a case for from a play. What Miami did over the course of the season from a quality win standpoint. It's just very difficult to kind of cipher through all of that. With March Madness, you don't have to have that concern because it's a field of 64, right? And more than that now because you have all the play-in games. But when you have the field of 64, it's harder for like the good teams to fall through the cracks when it's just 12. And we said this when it was just 4, but we're going to continue saying it, but just because it's very difficult. You could do, honestly, we could have an hour-long conversation about the ways to fix this, but it is still better than a 14 playoff. And I think now it's just like, all right, we got to trend towards, continuing to tweak it and make this process a little bit better. I think the games this weekend will be better than last week. Yeah, I do too. All right, what are you doing Christmas? What's your plans this week? What do you got? What's Franny Films do? So we have 7 Fish at my mom's on Tuesday night. So we'll go and do that. We've got that on Tuesday. We don't do the tradition. Even like growing up, like we always had like a lot of kids in the family. So like we're not gonna have smelts. They're not gonna be smelts in the Duffy house. But it's our take on 7 Fish. And then we're hosting. No, I do the smelts. Okay, so yeah. I'll do this. See, like my dad, because they did traditional from my dad's house growing up, and they did the smelts, and he always told me that as a little kid, like he was so turned off by the smell of the smelts that like all seafood was off the table for him except for 7 Fishes for the rest of his life. So we never did like the smelts and like the branzino and like all this stuff. And now it's just like it's our takeout. We'll have Clams Casino. We'll have like she crab soup and like stuffed shrimp and like so we'll have. Is there a main course? I got to look at the menu that my mom sent us because that's why I was like, Mom, like, what do you want? I'll do crabs and spaghetti as the main course. I knew smells had a smell. You're like, it just smells like seafood. I heard that smells has a weird smell. They don't. If you're cooked right. I trust Franny's dad. They smell weird. It depends on how you cook them. How you cook it. I cook them in, first of all, you saute them in olive oil and butter. Right. Right? They're fine. They got to have a stink to them. They don't. I'm telling you. They don't when you cook them that way. They traumatize Fran's dad for life to smell them. No, listen. I don't eat them. My father loves them, but whatever. So we got a couple pastas. We got shrimp scampi and we got a fettuccine alfredo that I think will go with like the salmon and like stuff like that. It's going on Tuesday. So then we got that, and then I'm doing we're hosting Meg's family at our house on Wednesday on Christmas dinner. I'm doing chicken saltimbocca for everybody on Wednesday. A little saltimbocca. Wow. My
love the
dad
salt
go
and
to for
poke.
Christmas.
I like a veal, but I like the salt and poke.
Yeah, my dad would make every Christmas would make it was his take on it was, all right, we're gonna basically butterfly the shrimp and it'll be stuffed with prosciutto and with mozzarella, and we'll pan fry and I'll throw it in the oven to finish off. That's one of my favorite meals. So it's I'm making that for like 20 people on Wednesday.
Nice, dude. I love it. Franny. You're the best. But listen, wish Christmas love to your whole family. All right. And,
appreciate it, guys. Same back to you guys as well.
You're the best, buddy. You know we love you. We'll be watching today. You, Fran, and Bo today, right? 2:00.
Yeah, all three of us will be live at 2:00.
Love it. We'll be watching. Thanks, pal. Franny Phil.
Merry Christmas.
Well, I gotta love it. All right, let's talk about some of our friends, shall we?
Yeah.
Shall we do some of that?
Yeah, let's talk about some friends. We got our buddies over at CJM Construction. CJM! Family owned. Home remodelers specializing in decks, bathrooms, and floorings. I just feel like when they show up, they're going to be like, yo, we're the CJM guys. And you just know they got it under control. Their goal? CJM. They got a good goal. It's to help alleviate clients' challenges and frustrations that come with home remodeling, which, as you know me, they drive me batty, and it's one of the scariest things that I have to encounter as a homeowner. So the CJM Construction guys, they're there for you to alleviate all that. They got a cool thing going on right now. If you're looking for some help with your decks, bathroom, and flooring, give them a call at 856-329-2933. Mention PHLY, and these generous people will give you 15% off by mentioning PHLY. So what are you waiting for? Give them a shout for your next home project. You can see their full selection and learn about more about their products and warranties on their website, cjmconstruction.com. And that number again, if you're calling, is 856-329-2933.
CJM. All right, time now for Parks Casino. Let's give the gift of entertainment. All right, New Year. Always. By the way, New Year's Eve. You're looking for New Year's Eve, Parks Casino, always there. You got gift cards. You want to get last minute shopping for people? All right. They love the gift cards. Parks Grill Steakhouse, Bamboo Noodle House, all the shows. All right. Here's what's going on. You can purchase gift cards for concerts and comedy at the Excite Center. And here you go. Pennsylvania's #1 casino right here off of 90th Street Road, exit 95, PA Turnpike. Tickets on sale now for these headliners. Just announced Larry the Cable Guy, May 16th.
Get her done.
Plus the second show for comedian Ron White, March 20th.
You can't fix stupid.
SNL's Colin Jost returns 2 nights, Parks Casino, March 14th and 15th.
Hey, did you see me this weekend? Scarlett was at the SNL studios.
Country artist Cole Swindell, February 7th.
Here's Carolina, tails California. Maybe she'd fall for a boy from South Georgia.
Or South Jersey, like Joey Barone. He's a big country man himself.
He'd be there with his boots on.
January 18th.
Can you skate in cowboy boots?
The sounds of Shaggy.
Girl, you're my angel. You're my darling angel.
January 24th, actor Richard Kind from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Whoa, Larry. Whoa, Larry. Hey.
Whoa, Larry. February 8th, Jerry Cantrell, Alice in Chains.
I'm the man in the box.
March 8th, magician Michael Carbonaro.
Yo, where'd my hair go?
Where'd my hair go? Country star.
He's good, man. He'll take your hair right off.
Lee Bryce, March 22nd. Lee Bryce Harper.
There's a rumor going round about me and you.
ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You're going to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Speaking of Bryce Harper, I love Luzardo. I love what the Phillies did. I love that move.
If he's healthy, I love it. The guy's rarely healthy.
Nah, dude, he's got great stuff.
Of course he does.
He's got an electric arm.
Absolutely.
And he's coming in. You got 4 deep now.
Yeah, well, 5 deep, no? You
got
slighting
Painter?
Sanchez?
No.
Oh, Ranger?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 6 deep with Painter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I mean, Ranger, I don't know if I'm going to use him and deploy him, but.
Too many lefties if they keep Ranger?
No.
3 lefties?
No, I don't mind
You
that.
good?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I love he's a power lefty.
A huge fan of the guy when he's healthy and pitching. Yes.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
like it. I'm excited.
Yeah. It's a
I think
sneaky
they're going to
little
go get
move.
Roberts to play center.
You do?
Yeah, I think
do
Kepler. I think they're going to move Marsh.
I
And
hope.
I mean, they move Marsh in some kind of trade for Robert, right? So Robert, Castellanos, Kepler, and then you got I would be thrilled. I'd be happy.
Yeah, who wouldn't be ecstatic if that happens
Right?
here? Yeah.
And then you got the rotation.
Yes.
Let's go.
I mean, yeah, let's go now, but yeah, let's go if they get Robert. Yeah.
Hey, so people are wondering what a schmelt is.
A smell.
Here it is.
Yeah. Well, look at that.
You
Put your little guys.
The schmelt.
People just eat them like that.
And then this is what they look like when you eat them.
Is that what yours look like, Ant? When you cook 'em up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's exactly what
The
it looks
schmelt.
The eyeballs stay in while they don't pop out while you cook them.
like. No. The eyeballs was for you.
Yeah.
My father, and it comes up with the bone. Now, when they fall off, like you fall off
No,
the meat.
Yeah.
Like I'll do it with I'll again olive oil and butter.
Yeah, there's a lot going on for me
It-
there. Worried about the eyeballs, worried about a fish bone getting stuck in my throat.
Oh, you're fine.
There's
There's a guy in the chat that you're going to like a lot. His name is Voodrew. He's saying no 7 fishes for him. He's doing the 7 chickens.
7 chickens.
Oh man, what we do?
Wow, what is
chicken
that?
divan,
Fried
chicken parmesan, fried chicken,
Chicken tender, chicken nugget, chicken
boneless
Cutlet.
wings.
Cutlet, right? Well, chicken tender is a chicken cutlet.
Yeah, I guess that is true. Yeah, it's just a half a cutlet, right?
So I mean, how many different ways you're gonna cook
7
the
chickens.
chicken?
7
7 fry it. You can
I'm
fry
down with
it.
the 7
Yeah,
chickens.
You can
broil.
saute it. You
Yeah.
can
They do a little chicken parm, little chicken divan, chicken Marseille.
cook au vent.
Yeah, you can mess with some chicken.
It's a lot of
7 different
bird.
ways. There's a lot of bird.
Yeah, I listen. I would do the 7 cows.
Yeah, I'm sure you
All
would.
right,
Yeah.
like, I love that.
T-bone,
Yeah.
Del Monte steak.
Give me that.
Tomahawk,
Yeah, but you can't do I mean,
Meatballs.
prime rib.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm down with that. Hey, VG, tell us a little bit about Rite Aid.
Oh, yeah. It's winter, and that means viruses are floating around out there, all kinds of stuff. So pneumonia is out there, man. So help protect yourself from pneumonia. Adults age 50 and older are now eligible for the pneumonia vaccine. It was previously 65, but now it's been lowered to 50. Millions of people get pneumonia every year. And according to the CDC, it's a respiratory illness. Fall and winter are a time when these germs that cause this respiratory disease spread more in the community. So now's the time to get vaccinated and help yourself and your family stay healthy. Some people get pneumonia, are lucky, you get mild symptoms, and others, especially if you're a little older, they experience serious complications. So the vaccine is one of the best ways to help yourself get healthy. It's usually no cost with insurance. Get vaccinated. Getting vaccinated is easy. Just walk into your local Rite Aid or schedule online at riteaid.com. Unsure of what vaccines you may need? Just ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for a personal recommendation. Stop by your local Rite Aid today. Pick up some paper towels, some candy, some Skittles,
There you
and
go.
everything.
Well, do we have our Rite Aid back in the day? We might as well go double.
Oh, I have one. I don't know if we were ready for it yet. I gotta.
You got it ready for it?
Yeah, I might
Send
need
it
a.
out.
Oh, all
You
right.
need
I'll
a
send
second?
it.
That's fine.
Yeah, I might need a
We
second.
got our playback to go over too. So we're gonna all for yesterday, and it was weird. Like the game again yesterday was one of those deals where it was freakish. It took Jalen Hurts getting hurt, a concussion. It took a drop pass that would have iced the game for Devontae. And then all the craziness, CJGJ getting thrown out with the second personal foul, right? Like it took all that stuff for the Eagles to lose.
Yes, all that, and they
So that's why
lost at the last minute.
I just have I don't really have any fear.
I'm not worried about the Commanders
And
or
again,
anything going.
If it's the trilogy, look, down the line, I'm with you. Jaden Daniels will be a problem at some point once they build it.
Yeah,
But, I mean, you're going to tell me that Washington's going to come into Philadelphia and beat them in the playoffs?
no. If someone's telling you that, they're clueless. There are some teams that are dangerous, but it's not the Commanders.
Yeah, look, second round, we'll see. We'll see what happens between Detroit and Minnesota,
Yeah,
right? Minnesota here.
I'm good with any. I really am good with anyone here, man. I think they're the best team in the
Rams
NFC.
here, like I'm not scared, right? I mean, obviously they're good.
The Rams are good. Their
right?
offense is good. They could get if you get in a shootout with the Rams, you can get bit.
But I'll ask you this: who you're more afraid of, Rams or Vikings? 'Cause
Rams.
I would go Vikings.
Rams.
You go really?
I'm not scared of the Vikings. I don't know why.
Well, no,
Maybe I just
I'm
always.
looking at just compared to the Rams. See, I think the Vikings defense is better.
It is, but Stafford's so much better than Darnold. I would fear Stafford more.
But they have a better offensive line.
Yeah. I'm not buying this Vikings thing.
So you're out completely on
and I just read, I didn't even believe, they started, Vegas had them at 6.5 wins this year, the Vikings.
And
6.5.
And I got to tell you, I know that we had this, we were talking about the opponents last week or whatever, and Andrew did a post, and a lot of people were talking about Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tampa's good, and I know that Tampa has played the Eagles tough in the past, obviously last year, Sirianni's first year. But that defense, I know they got Vita Vea back, and he's terrific, but that secondary, you can't tell me that they're going to stop the Eagles.
I don't know. Bowles got some like voodoo doll or something with Hurts. I don't know what it is with Todd Bowl and this offense.
And that's what everybody was saying, and I get it. But every time I watch him, I go, that defense is not. Cooper Rush went down the field on him last night.
I know, but that's not the Eagles. And for some reason, Todd Bowles got their number. For some, I don't know what it is. It's weird.
Well, yeah, Jalen, I hear you. And then the other matchup obviously would be Detroit, which, you got to see what kind of state they're in.
Yeah. Packers, maybe at some point they can come.
I forgot about Green Bay. Yeah. See, Green Bay, I'm nervous about because Green Bay, I think Love. You go, well, Love. I like the way Love's playing. They spread the ball around, and Green Bay's secondary is vulnerable, but their front is very good.
Mm-hmm.
They get pressure off the front.
We have our back in the day.
All right, so we're going back to the 23rd of December, 2018.
Oh!
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with Rite Aid. Yeah!
Oh, let's see it.
This is Nick Foles' last game at the Link as a starter at the end of the 2018 season.
Fourth and 2. Foles comes in, caught. Darren Sproles makes a move upfield, breaks away for the touchdown. The tank.
Just let it go for a little bit. He had a day. Foles had a day here.
On fourth down.
Foles.
He's done this 32 times in his great career. Look at this effort at the end. As he gets contacted here, and it's going to spin out of the tackle of the rookie Justin Reed and walk into the end zone.
Foles went on for his final game at the Link.
Elliott on for the extra point.
471 yards.
13 plays.
471?
4 TDs with an interception.
We're out of time, right? So we're not going to be able to do the whole playback, which sucks because you did a great job with it. But the one thing that's clear is that Kenny Pickett is not Nick Foles. I think that's the one thing that's pretty clear.
Now,
pretty clear. Yeah.
Now, does he look better if he does? He'll get a full rep with the ones and the game plan change. He'll look a little better. But yeah.
He's not BDN. No, he's not.
Especially with those hands.
No,
the 2 glove tiny hands.
Yeah. No, he's not. Listen, everybody. First of all, Phrase, great job as always. All right. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to
you and your family. All right. Joey Marone, Merry Christmas. Great job. Our fine intern. He's doing a great job. VG, love the mom.
Yeah. Love to you and your family. Merry Christmas.
So we're going to be back on Friday. All right. Everybody, listen, have a great,
We'll be back. The show will be back on Thursday.
Right.
But you guys won't be back. You guys will be back on Friday.
We'll be back Friday. We're going to work Monday and Friday, Football Friday this week. Jamie will be in on Thursday, all right? But everybody have a safe Christmas. Be blessed holiday, all right? We love you guys, man. Best of your families. And then we'll be back close to a little before New Year's, all right? Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.